3, 2, 1, 0.
Progressive Journeys with Harlan Dane Fallon. Now.
So welcome then to another edition, another episode, another instalment of Progressive Journeys right here on 96.5. But more specifically, it's launch night of the Progressive Journeys podcast. A brand new podcast. This is episode 1. Starting off tonight with a fantastic BICEP track. This one is Fur. So welcome then to the brand new Progressive Journeys podcast, right here every single Friday night, done live between 9 and 10 on 96.5 Bolton FM, also available in podcast format as well on your favourite podcast streaming platform on a Sunday evening. I've been waiting to do this for a long time in this brand new format, and I'm starting off with a bit of BICEP. This first track for BICEP is an absolutely wonderful track and one that I can't stop listening to. Belfast-born, London-based duo BICEP, Matt McBrayer and Andy Ferguson released their hotly anticipated second album, Isles, on the 22nd of January 2021 on the Ninja Tune record label. This just one of many quality tracks, quite futuristic and quite Sasha-ish, if I can call it that. This is Fur from BICEP. So then, from a bit of bicep, straight into the prog house and progressive trance style. This is one of my favourite tracks of the last 5 years. This is a bit of Alex H and LUMIDELIC from well back now, believe it or not, with a bit of Never Too Late, the original mix. Have a listen to this dreamboat bit of tunage. This one's from well back 2019. It felt like longer. Never Too Late, the original mix, Alex H and LUMIDELIC. Lumi is a guy that is just, well, I'm a massive fan of him. I play a lot of his tunes on Progressive Journeys every Friday night. Going to play a lot of him throughout the podcast over the next couple of weeks, months and years as well. And Alex is someone that I've followed for a couple of years as well now. Alex Humberstorm, a fantastic and well qualified in his field of work in the progressive genres. A wonderful powerhouse of a track, this one. Never Too Late, very melodic and beautiful as well. Loads coming up on tonight's show. I'll explain a bit more after this dreamboat bit of tunage. So then, Never Too Late, the original mix, Alex H and Lumidelic from well back in 2019. What a track that is. Big shout out to Alex, big shout out to Lumo as well. We're going to hear a bit more Lumidelic in tonight's podcast and tonight's show right here on 96.5. And whenever you're listening, whether that be Sunday night, Monday night next week, or whenever you may be listening to this, even many, many weeks in the future. I've got lots coming up on tonight's show. I've got some Fallon's flashbacks, Harlan's highlights, recent discoveries, Progressive Journeys treble, Reflective Records, You'll Be Remembered tracks, absolutely tons coming up. But up next is a bit of Kazusa and Shingo Nakamura with the original mix of Dice.
The Progressive Journeys, Harlan's highlights.
That is correct. I absolutely love the intro to that one. Play the intro, drop a bit of the, as I call it, the Progressive Journeys sat-nav in to say this is the first Harlan's highlight of tonight's Progressive Journeys podcast. This is Dice, Kazusa and Shingo Nakamura. So then, to you progressive trance lovers, melodic progressive lovers, this man will need no introduction. We've just heard a bit of him with Kazuza, Bringing You Dice, the original mix. This is Ethereal Concepts, BLUEGAZER's original track, remixed by that man again. It's a Shingo double, Shingo Nakamura. The remix of Ethereal Concepts. This is a thing of progressive beauty.
The Progressive Journeys, Harlan's Highlights. The Progressive Journeys, Harlan's Highlights.
BLUEGAZER's original, Ethereal Concepts, the Shingo Nakamura remix. Up next, a big, big track. This is an absolute powerhouse of a track. One of my go-to tracks when things are feeling a bit blue. Well, blue's my colour, so shall I say? When things are feeling a bit dark, this is a track that picks me right back up again. This is a bit of ENTIS with Luminescence on the Emergent Cities label. This is a quality bit of musical melodic ear food right here on the brand new Progressive Journeys podcast. This is an absolutely huge track. It just gets you up. You can't help yourself. This, Luminescence by ENTIS.
The Progressive Journeys, Harlan's Highlights.
So then, tonight's ingredients in this pot full of musical ear food. We've had a bit of Fur, Bicep, a bit of Alex H and LUMIDELIC with Never Too Late, the original mix, a bit of Kazuza and Shingo Nakamura with Dice, a bit of Ethereal Concepts, the Shingo Nakamura remix of BLUEGAZER's original, a bit of ENTIS with Luminescence, and this one is another Harlan's highlight on tonight's podcast. This is a huge track, a bit of Richard Bass and Southpole with the SUNDRIVER remix. A wonderful night. Absolutely unbelievable. It's a wonderful night. Well, I think it is. Now this is a music podcast, and that is exactly what we are celebrating this evening, and what I choose to celebrate a lot in my life. However, this is a reflective record, and is one of those tracks that I always go to whenever I need a lift. A bit like ENTIS with Luminescence. It's one of those tracks that makes me feel like I maybe need to appreciate things a bit more in life. I think everybody has their moments where we appreciate everything we've got, but maybe we need to look at what we've got more than what we've not got. This track is a beautiful track, down into this wonderful, wonderful layered melodic piece, and straight back up again to make us feel absolutely on top of the world. Richer bass and South Pole delivering us with a beautiful bit of musical ear food, helping us all appreciate what we've got rather than what we've not got.
The Progressive Journeys Reflective Record.
Then with another absolute thumper. This one though has got a bit deeper feel to it. This one very beautifully melodic, quite housey, quite reflective. A wonderful, wonderful track. That is why it is one of two reflective records on this part of tonight's podcast. This is a quality track. Yet again, another one that I always go to when I need a lift and when I want to reflect on the things I've got in life. This is ELYPSIS and TAGLO. What a partnership they are, by the way, with Swimming with Sirens. to this. So then, Swimming with Sirens, what an absolute dreamboat bit of tunage right here on Progressive Journeys, on the Progressive Journeys podcast, episode 001. Wow, that feels good. Been a long time coming, but it's finally here in its brand new format. Coming up next, I've got a fantastic reflective record, and this one you may not have heard before. You may have heard the original track, but maybe not this one. So then, coming up next, I have got my, well, unique reflective record of the evening. This one is a track that I played a couple of months ago on the Progressive Journey show on 96.5, and I'm going to play it tonight on the first of the Progressive Journeys podcasts of the new era of Progressive Journeys with myself, Harlan Dane Fallon. This one is an original Bruce Hornsby track, remix though by HANSKI, a very, very talented producer, DJ and remixer by the sounds of things as well. This is The Way It Is, the HANSKI remix of Bruce Hornsby's original track. This is a dreamboat bit of tunage.
The Progressive Journeys reflective record.
One of my absolute favourite tracks of all time, The Way It Is, Bruce Hornsby and The Range. A fantastic, fantastic track. We are going to focus on the meaning behind this track. And the meaning behind this track to me is positivity and finding a way forward on a progressive journey. This is The Way It Is, the HANSKI remix of Bruce Hornsby's original track. And this is up there. Well, it competes quite fairly, to be honest with you. This is beautiful. One of my favourite tracks, one of my favourite genres, progressive, melodic, bang them together. What do you get? A dreamboat bit of musical, dreamboat, musical, progressive ear food. Now then, it is time for a wonderful bit of musical ear food up next. These next two tracks that you're going to hear have a special meaning to me. They are part of a Progressive Journeys double tonight, and also they are two recent discoveries to me as well. The first one is the new Mark Moncrieff track, Traveller, on the Summer Melodies Volume 6 record label and compilation album. And the track after that is a LUMIDELIC track. It is a brand new one from LUMIDELIC, and it is Spirit Dance. What I'm going to do is tonight, though, as a brand new feature for the Progressive Journeys podcast, I'm going to do a new verses section where I face two tracks off from the same artist, and we decide which track is better between us. It's not about one track being worse than the other one. Let's just see whether two tracks can really compete on the same level, and let's just see whether we can do the most difficult thing in music between two lovely tracks that we love from one artist and decide for which one's the best. Just a bit of fun on the Progressive Journeys podcast. Up tonight, I've got Spirit Dance versus Magic Garden, two LUMIDELIC tracks that sound very similar in melody, but which one do you think is the best one? Coming up after a bit of Traveller, Mark Moncrieff on the Summer Melodies Volume 6 record label and compilation album. This is the Progressive Journeys double and the recent discoveries section.
The Progressive Journeys treble. The Progressive Journeys recent discovery.
This one featured on the Progressive Journey show on Bolton FM last week. It makes its return because it is that good. This is Traveller, Mark Moncrieff's brand new release from January 2021 on the Summer Melodies Volume 6 compilation album. It's time then for a bit of Progressive Journeys versus. This is LUMIDELIC with Spirit Dance. The superb brand new single from LUMIDELIC on the Synth Collective record label 102. This is Spirit Dance, the original mix, and it is very, very similar to the Versus track tonight, which was a Lumo track from 2018, the rework of Magic Garden. Two of my absolute favourite tracks, and this one goes straight up there into my top 20, if you want to call that favourite progressive tracks of all time. But Magic Garden is up there in that top 10. Spirit Dance, you will get there one day, the more and more I listen to you. But up next, you are facing tough competition with your sister track, brother track, whatever you want to call it, in Magic Garden. This, though, Dreamboat tunage from Synth Collective. This is wonderful, and it's on the Prog Journeys podcast 001. Apologies then for that short technical hitch, but we are going to go straight in then with the sister track. This is LUMIDELIC with the 2018 rework of Magic Garden. The sister track, Spirit Dance, just released in 2021. 3 years between them. Which do you think is better? Trance, progressive, melodic family? Tough choice. I'll tell you what a track. Spirit Dance is beautiful as well. It'll be a tough competition. Maybe Lumo wants to answer the question himself. I'll get him on Instagram and ask him his opinion once this podcast has gone out on Sunday evening. We're almost at the end of tonight's Progressive Journeys podcast, right here on 96.5, recorded live for the first ever time. This is 001 episode, and I can't wait for many, many more. We're going to finish off tonight with another BICEP track from the album Isles. It's a bit of Cazenove to finish us off on tonight's Progressive Journeys podcast. That coming up in a couple of minutes' time. Big shout out to LUMIDELIC. Big shout out to LUMIDELIC. Again, obviously, big shout out to Mark Moncrieff as well. HANSKI, also ELYPSIS and TAGLO. Richard Bass, South Pole. ENTIS, Kazuza and Shingo NAKAMURA. BLUEGAZER as well. Alex H, Lumo again, and BICEP for their tracks, including in tonight's show. Can't believe it. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant to finally get off the paper and onto the airwaves and the internet as well for you people out there to listen to. Unbelievable. Coming up next, a bit of BICEP with Cazenove, another world-class, progressive, beautifully melodic, but futuristic track.